Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 AM KFYO. Joining me in studio right now, our good friend Texas State Senator Charles Perry. How's it going, sir?
Good morning. It's good to be here. Thank you for letting me come on a minute.
Absolutely. It's good to have you on. We're going to have you on for an extended time tomorrow as we talk about races kind of across the state and then also some upcoming legislative issues. You get the chance to kind of sit back and watch as all this is playing out because you're not on the ballot, but you are concerned about what's going on in Texas.
Yeah, I think, it's been said 100 different ways, 100 different times. This is going to come down to the 1R and the 2R voters, those that historically have voted sometime in the past but have not voted as of yet, and we're targeting specifically those today. Been great turnout on both sides across the state. New voters are in the mix. Nobody was really talking about who they are because they don't know. But what we do know is historically urban votes, you try to split those with the D and the R's. You try to stay even, maybe a little under, a little over, but then West Texas and rural values show up at the polls and pull them across the line, and that's where it's at today. We need our West Texas folks to show up and remember this is not about a personality or a person. This is about our values. This is about the Texas miracle and what happens if we start seeing a changeover in this state, with respect to more taxes, more job-killing regulations, more abortions. You just go down the litany of things that we value and hold dear out here in this area, specifically in the oil and gas and the ag industry and all of the things that we export to make our income work in this state. All of those will be under scrutiny under a different leadership style.
Yeah.
And, you got voter ID. You've got numerous things that we've put through that people out here, just common sense people, think are good measures. You get a change out at the state and start moving that up to the federal system. Those are just different initiatives.
And, obviously the race that everyone has been paying attention to for a while now has been O'Rourke and Cruz. I had the Attorney General on earlier, Ken Paxton. That race is kind of, at least there's talk about how that has tightened up recently. What are you looking at as far as, the races go, besides the O'Rourke Cruz race? Are you concerned about some of our statewide candidates?
Yeah, I think absolutely tightened up. It's been hard campaigning on both sides. Both guys are working out there, and I think that the polls show that there's I referred to Beto as the kind of the new shiny penny. But to his credit, he's got energy and he's done some door knocks and. But people aren't paying attention to his voting record. It doesn't match the rhetoric. And I know that's a lot of work for voters, but you need to listen to what the man's saying and then go over there and find out what he voted like as he served, because he's not a uniter. He's just another divider, just like the previous administration was. So, there's a lot at risk here. If Texas falls or starts that trend off to the blue wave, so to speak, we may see a White House implication in 2020. And see some statewide implications for sure on the current level if that race goes through. If it hadn't been for a Beto ticket, we wouldn't have these conversations today. But like I say, there's a message and a narrative out there that doesn't match the voting record of the candidate, and that's happened on a local level. I'm listening to Democrats that are running, and you want to ask, well, why aren't you on the R side? So, either there's a lot of lying going on or there's some really, really slick campaign ads working around here.
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up if O'Rourke wins, what's going to happen in 2020, what's going to happen with future leadership in the state. I think if Beto wins this race, it's going to put Texas in play in 2020. What do you think?
It'll be huge. I told a couple of town halls last few weeks, and I've been on several, but it's transformational or it's regression. It's either transformational in that we basically put a stake in the ground that Texas is here to stay. It's red. We value work. We value opportunity. We value low taxes. We value low regulations. And that's what's got us here, and that's what we need to keep going forward. Or it's going to be regression in that we go back to the old policies that have been tried and tested throughout history around the world. Socialism, that the government, the bigger the government, the better you can be, and that everybody ought to be mediocre, and there should be no incentive for innovation and all the things that we take for granted, our medical, our oil and gas sectors, and how we develop the resources that God has created in the state. All that stuff's in play if we have one chink in the armor, and so we can't allow it, and we can't, and we won't. You know, the good news is that we're still a heavily Republican-based state, but you can't have apathy. You can't have assumptions. You can't take it for granted that it's just going to happen because we're a heavy Republican state. You got to get out and work, and you know what? That's what you're supposed to do. This is this is how we voice our self-government. You know, I think was it Ben Franklin that told a lady, said, "What kind of government have you given us?" Said, "Well, it's a republic, madam, if you can keep it." And it's based on engaged, educated, and informed voter base. And that's what we need tomorrow. We need every one of those guys that have like-minded, understand the times we're in and what the narrative is that's out there that would be so devastating at so many different levels, federal, state, and local, that they need to go do their civic duty and vote tomorrow.
Yeah, throw all the polls out. Throw all the polls out. Don't listen to this Politico story. Did Beto blow? Don't even think about it.
That's a plant.
This race is. Yeah, I mean, this comes out for a reason. It is to depress Republican, depress Republican turnout and make the Democrats go, no. We're going to show you Politico. We're going to turn out.
And I know you guys don't want to hear it, but just turn the ads off today. You know, you're going to get hit. Well, you're going to get on the TV.
On KFYO.
Yeah,
on
the KFYO. Listen, but the TV ads have. It's just amazing. It's just amazing how with straight faces you can get by with some of the stuff that's been spouted out there. So, go make your decision at the polls tomorrow. Let your vote be heard. Let your voice be heard, and do the right thing. But I will tell you, seeing numbers and having those conversations, Lubbock's done a good job of turning out. We may be at 50% of registered voters if we hit 25,000 or more, and that's probably likely going to happen, and good for Lubbock. But remember, this really isn't a West Texas Lubbock cinch deal because our urbans are not performing on the R side as much as what they have in the past. So hopefully they'll show up tomorrow, but we've got to kind of cross this. We matter
right
in tight races, and we're relevant. And we always have been relevant, but even in races like this, we're more relevant. It's time for us to get out and do our job.
Yeah. Tomorrow we're going to visit with you not only about the Cruz O'Rourke race, but we're also going to talk about the legislature overall because there's a lot of interesting races, a lot of interesting campaigns. Yeah. And then y'all got one or two issues that you're going to tackle.
We got a few state issues, but the state's going to be good. We got Dustin Burrows and John Frullo. They're in tight races out here. I say tight races. They're in races out here for sure. Again, I question one of the candidates why he's on our side if his storyline's the truth. You can't be that disconnected from your platform and have any standards at all.
That's where I'm at.
You got to stand on something. I know why I'm a Republican. It's pro-life. It's traditional family values. It's more opportunity for everybody, equal opportunity. It's the government's not the answer for your problem. I can state you part and parcel why that platform makes sense to me as a person individually. And then when you have a candidate that says, I don't really do that platform, then you got to question what you stand on. So, get out and vote for those guys. They earned it. They work hard. They're respected in the Austin, in the capital setting. Either one of those guys have a voice. And when you're outnumbered on the rural side of Texas, it's good to have a character and integrity that people want your opinion and want you engaged in the conversations that we battle out in Austin every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas State Senator Charles Perry, appreciate your time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.